theme is Leashed, stories about the things that we keep close. Tori, what's something that you keep close?
My heart. No, probably my kid. Yeah. You guys can't ever see him.
Great answer.
Yeah. He's on a leash. Just kidding. He would kill me. No, I don't know. What about you? What do you keep close to you?
My passwords.
Ew, why?
Ooh, no. I don't want people getting into my
Okay, that's weird.
stuff. My computer.
Yeah, okay.
Got my games.
Yeah, that was weird. He didn't say his girlfriend or anything. Okay, that's fine. Everybody look at him. All right.
All of y'all's minds are in the wrong place.
All right. Well, we're going to get right into it. We have 7 storytellers. It's an excellent program. Are you guys ready or what? All right. The first storyteller is Victoria Morales. Victoria shares a story about the power in releasing other people's ideas about her body.
Please put your hands together for Victoria Morales.
A bunny girl would be safest at an anime convention. For those of you who don't know what a convention is, let me paint for you a picture. Conventions are huge gatherings of thousands of people who look just like me. Adults who like their passions, of course. But think of it. Tables and tables of artwork from obscure animes, rare collectibles. Some people save their money their whole year just to attend these things, sometimes just to meet up with friends they don't see all year. And you have voice actors there to give signatures away on some of their collectibles. Sometimes things can get adult, not gonna lie, and statistically, patrons of conventions tend to be women, and they love to judge the cosplayers. And yet, I still feel less nervous walking in a bunny suit at an anime convention. So imagine it. Sweetheart neckline, satin cinched, thighs exposed, and in contrast to all that, like, shiny fabric, you have a fluffy tail right there at the lower back. It's designed to look like lingerie, but you wear it like armor. Actually, I have an example right here. Take it off. This may take a while. I practiced. Y'all don't mind if I don't have shoes right now? No, come on. For those of you just listening, the cosplayer took off her Sergeant Frog onesie that I made, actually, and is now wearing a bunny suit. So yeah, I should feel exposed. I should feel vulnerable, but I don't. I feel powerful. I feel free as a Japanese schoolgirl waving around a meteor hammer. I feel cute in a frog suit. Yes, a frog, because anime logic says that frogs can be cute. And I have been a sexy Pokemon once or twice. Spicy Pikachu is just the beginning. So in the cosplay world, there's something called Gaijinka. And Gaijinka asks the question, if an inanimate object or a Pokemon, a Digimon, were real, what would it look like? How would it move? What would it wear? It's where fandom design and fashion meet. And so I took this tropical-like Pokemon, it's a blossom, and I used its petals to make a ball gown. Yes, I made a ball gown from an idea of a Pokemon. And if you don't know what a Lopunny is, Google it and tell me it's not begging to be made into a costume. As opposed to real life. In real life, I'm wearing leggings and a t-shirt, and I'm scared to go pump my gas. And if you've ever gone to pump your gas at night in full club wear, no, you didn't. Because you didn't linger, you race to your car, and you don't make eye contact, and you hope that nobody follows you. See, conventions are supposed to be like this escape. This place where nobody gets to make you feel small for anything that you like. But there's always going to be somebody who wants to try. Enter my cousin. I was at an auditorium where I was rehabilitating a lower back injury. Swimming was the only thing I could do, and I was posting like some progress pics in a bathing suit, of course. Now, this wasn't like a bikini, nothing like scantily clad. No, this was a tight-fitted, something that shined when the waves hit. Nice little dip where my back to show the muscles were at work. But it was made for function and movement, but it was hot too. So I posted the picture, and Seconds later, I get a notification on Facebook. It's from my cousin. Put some pants on. This is a pool. And she slaps me with, I've been meaning to talk to you about how sexual you're being with your cosplays. It's making me feel weird. And I froze. I had been waiting for this conversation, this argument, my whole life with some self-righteous man at the end of a keyboard, some incel, and I was going to give him the feminist manifesto. But my cousin who I grew up with, who was my friend for a majority of my life, we grew up off the same internet. We survived low-rise jeans. No, this wasn't happening. So I had this speech and I gave her the cliff notes because we're family. But I did have a question, weird how? I love you, but you're my cousin, so not like that. I thought, maybe if I just give her the cliff notes. And I ended up with, cosplay is not consent. But that wasn't enough for her. No, she doubled down. And I'll tell you what, I've had so many arguments this year alone. And none have been so hard with somebody that you love and respect and walking away from them unresolved. It's heartbreaking. When I first started attending conventions, I remember the signs that introduced me to cosplay real fast. It was, if you're not covering here and here, then get the heck out. But next to that was an even more important sign. Cosplay is not consent. And I looked at that and I was like, well, duh, yeah, nobody should be touching me no matter what I'm wearing. But after that argument, I realized it was more than that. See, cosplay is not consent also frees me from judgment or caring about judgment, really. See, because what she was trying to do, she was trying to shame me. She wasn't asking me, do you feel okay with putting your body out there like that? No. She wanted me to know that I should feel bad about what I was doing. And I realized the things that make me feel bad about who I am, mostly screens, Facebook messages, because nothing good ever happens there, screenshots that have totally ruined a lot of relationships. But the things that make me feel good about myself are the things I can actually hold. Maybe it's a sexy choker for a cosplay, or maybe it's the comfort of my own hand. It's real, and it's mine. So if any of you want to send me a Facebook message about how I'm doing everything all wrong, that's fine. So here are the rules and the restraints. I'll be wrong. Thank you.
One more time for Vicky. And let's get her cousin. Just kidding. Let's find her on the internet. All right. Just kidding.
Man, I can't say I've ever been to a con, but I dressed up in a whoopee cushion costume in 5th grade. That's as close as I've ever got.
Did anybody sit on you? It's a whoopee cushion.
Okay, yeah. Nobody sat on me. Nobody sat on me. To answer your question.
Okay,
no.
yeah. That was weird. Okay.
Yeah. Our next storyteller is Molly Neck. Molly shares a story about the day her world was turned upside down.
Please welcome to the stage Molly Neck.
I adopted Gwen in 2008. She was a golden retriever, one of those dogs exactly like from the movie Up. So she just met you and she already loved you. 5 years ago this month, Gwen passed away. I came home Friday night. It was late from work. And the first thing I realized was that Gwen and my other dog, Nola, didn't meet me at the door. They always met me at the door. Gwen would jump up, put her head right on your chest, wrap her arms around you, and give you a hug. Every time, never failed. But she wasn't there, neither was Nola. The second thing I noticed was this awful, awful smell. And as I went and put my bag down, I turned to the right, and I saw blood. Blood was everywhere. It was on the walls, was on the furniture. It was just everywhere. So I looked down, and there was Gwen on the floor. I ran over to her, realized she was still breathing. There was so much blood, I slipped on the floor and fell. Next thing I did was I went and found my other dog, who was hiding under the bed, but he was safe. So I went back to Gwen. I had no idea what had happened. I just knew she was incredibly injured. So I picked her up. She was about 60, 65 pounds, and I ran out my front door. As I'm running out the front door, I tripped and I fell, and we both fell on the ground. And I couldn't get her back up. I tried and I tried, and I could not get her back up. So I ran to my neighbor's house and knocked on their door. Their car was in the driveway, so I thought they were home, but nobody answered. So I went to my neighbor, who I'd never met before, across the street. I knock on his door. I'm standing there. I'm covered in blood. I'm sobbing. This man answers the door, and I say, my dog's been injured. I don't know what happened. Will you help me get her in the car? And he didn't have any shoes on. I remember he ran across the street, helped me pick her up and put her in the back seat of my car. So I drove as fast as I could to the nearest emergency vet. I ran into the lobby and just screamed, I need help right now. My dog's been injured. And this sort of team of vets and vet techs comes running out, takes Gwen to the back. As I'm standing there talking to the receptionist, and she's taking my information, I realize I don't have my purse, I don't have my phone, I don't have my wallet, I have nothing with me but my car keys. So she kindly suggests that I go home, change my clothes, and come back. So I went home, and right before I'm getting ready to leave again to go back to the vet, there's a knock on my front door. And I open it, and it's my neighbors who didn't answer the door before. And they say, how is your dog? And I said, how do you know my dog's hurt? And they said, well, our dog came home covered in blood. So we just washed her off, but she's fine. I said, well, my dog's dying. And they just stood there, stared at me. Didn't say a word, just walked away. So I shut the door. I go to my back door, where the dog door is, and I realized that I hadn't seen before was there's a trail of bloody paw prints all the way to the back door. And the dog door is covered in blood. I open the back door. I look to my left, and there's a big gaping hole in the fence. And I realized that their dog, who has been chained in the backyard, never let off the chain, for over 2 years, has broken off the chain, broken through the fence, and come in and attacked Gwen. And suddenly I realized what's happened. So I get back to the vet, and they tell me, well, she's still alive, but she's severely injured. She has over 70 lacerations and bite marks. 3 of her legs are broken, and she's lost a considerable amount of blood. But you can stay with her. So they let me stay, and I hold her paw, and I talk to her about the ocean, because Gwen loved the ocean. She loved to run into the waves and then let herself be rolled back to shore. And she would run out, be rolled back to shore over and over and over again. She was up for anything. So I stayed till about 4 a.m, and I tell Gwen it's going to be okay. But I know it's not. So I go home. My mom has now driven 5 hours to be with me. And when she gets there around 6 o'clock in the morning, I say, I'm going to let Gwen go. It was a decision that I couldn't make the night before, but I knew I had to make it now. And so we get to the vet. Someone comes running up to me. And they say, she's gone into cardiac arrest and they're doing CPR. Do you want us to continue? I said, no, please let her go. So they put me in a small exam room so I can say goodbye. They wheel her in. She doesn't even look like herself. They've tried to clean her up, but she's still covered in blood. And she's just not there anymore. So I give her a hug, and I kiss her on the cheek, and I say, I love you. And I say goodbye. Before I leave, the vet comes in and says, I really need you to file a police report, and I need you to file a dangerous dog affidavit with Animal Care Services. And I said, what is that? I don't even know what that is. And he says, it's what you do when there's a dog attack. He lets me know he's taken pictures of all of her injuries and wants me to go down to ACS and fill this form out. So I spent the whole day printing out pictures of Gwen's injuries, driving down to Animal Care Services, filling out paperwork, talking to investigators, having everything notarized. We go back to my house. My mom spends hours cleaning while I just laid in bed and cried. 3 days later, ACS calls me and they tell me my neighbors have relinquished their dog and the dog's been euthanized. And people always think that's going to make me feel better, but it kind of made me feel worse. Like another dog had to go. So it's the middle of the pandemic. I'm visiting my parents on South Powder Island, and I take Gwen's ashes with me, and I spread them in the ocean so she can roll in the waves the way she always loved. Thank you.
Holy shit.
I was thinking the same thing.
I was like, don't cry, don't cry. And then I saw one of you crying and I was like, oh my God, stop. That's okay. To Gwen, yeah, like, ugh.
Can't imagine if that happened to my dog.
Dude. It's always like a neighborhood dog. Like, okay, let's go to that neighborhood. That's my answer to everything. Let's go get him. It's gonna be okay. You guys okay? Who needs a hug? Gavin will give it to you. Just gonna make you hug people.
Okay, Mom told.
Mom told. All right. Let's keep going. That was great. One more time. Can you let her hear it one more time? That was hard. Our next storyteller is Lorena Havill. Lorena shares a story about a dog named Ruthie.
Put your hands together for Lorena Havill.
Hi, I am a dog rescuer on the east side of San Antonio, and I am going to tell you a story today about one of my favorite saves. So what we do in dog rescue, it's actually quite a gargantuan task in San Antonio because there are 34,000 roaming street dogs at any one time. Those are both owned, roaming, and strays. So yeah, it's a pretty mind-blowing number. And there are a lot of us trying to get those dogs off the streets. You get them all the vet care they need. You get them spayed, neutered, and then you try to find them a home. So there's a whole network of us. And there are people who also do this for cats. And the story of Ruthie actually starts with a phone call from one of these cat rescuers in my neighborhood on the Near East Side. And she was calling because she was with a dog that had been attacked by other dogs. And she was actually afraid of dogs and didn't want anything bad to happen to this dog, but didn't know what to do. So she called me. I was about 10 minutes away. So I told her I'd be right there. And she also called Animal Care Services at the same time. And once I arrived, I saw her dilemma, and the vision was this black mass laying on her side of the dog in a pool of blood in a black asphalt parking lot. So I understood the urgency right away. And I got a crate from the back of my car, because when you are a dog rescuer, you have crates in the back of your car. And I set the crate up. The dog was not conscious. Ruthie wasn't conscious. So I put both arms underneath her and I lifted her up to try to put her into the crate. I got her in there, and the crates have a plastic tray at the bottom. And I noted blood was already accumulating in the tray. So I knew I'm rapidly assessing what on earth I'm going to do. And at that moment, the animal care officer drives up. And this was a really good thing. Oftentimes, if they know that you are going to take care of that animal, they'll let you go ahead and take care of that animal. But in this case, I asked what he would do, and he was going to take her straight to animal emergency room, which is, he's going to get attention. She would get attention with him long before me. So Ruthie goes with the animal care officer. And this was all happening in December. And we were leaving the next day for our annual trip to see family for the holidays. So Ruthie goes through her time. I keep track of her. I get her animal ID number so that we can find out what's going on. And she heals, and then she faces the dilemma of 3 days until she's on the euthanasia list. And I'm not in town. I'm in Memphis at this point. So going and getting her isn't an option. But that brings me to what a supportive village of community members we have on the Near East Side, because it took a proverbial village to rescue Ruthie. But I posted on our Facebook page that we needed some help, and a neighbor answered the call. And she, her name's Megan, she went to get, well, I should back up just a minute. Before they let you get the dog, they want to know where the dog is going to go. So it was also very important that I have a wonderful friend in Wendy Black, who is the founder and runs Footbridge Foundation, which is a rescue here in Southtown. And Wendy said, I called her from Memphis. She said, "Are you hell-bent on saving this dog?" And I said, yeah, I am on this one. And so she said, okay, then we pull her off the list, which rescues can do. They say, we're going to take her into our program, pulled her off the list. And then the question is, okay, now somebody has to go get her. And what are we going to do with her until I get back in town? So this woman, Megan, stepped up, and I will never forget the video she took, or her husband took, of her walking Ruthie out of the ACS, adoption area. And she had Ruthie, her personality was evident from that very first video. She's a pit bull. She's black. She's got scars all over her. But she's fairly small for a pit bull, and she's got the little bit of a more wide bulldog kind of stance. So she's got there's personality in this dog's walk. And it was amazing to see her like that. So when we get back into town, Megan has agreed to keep Ruthie. We get back into town. She loves Ruthie so much, she's actually just going to foster her. So I didn't have to do that, which it was a good thing, because that leaves a space for someone else or some other dog. Then the next step was to get Ruthie a home. And through a member of this village, we found Ruthie an amazing mom who had adopted a pit bull from us before. And Ruthie's story has a very happy ending, because Ruthie now spends her free time with her mom as a therapy dog. She is a black scarred pit bull walking in a bright pink or bright purple, depending on the day, tutu, into Johnson High School in Hayes County. So that's just one of my absolute favorite saves. Thank you.
Wow. I remember my first dog, and it was a pit bull, and she was the best dog I ever had. I also love pit bull's music. Thank you. I'll be here all night.
Oh, that was good.
What can I say?
We like it. You guys have to see the picture. She's got a little tutu. I would make out with that dog. I'll make out with any dog. As a practice, that's what I do. So if you have a dog that needs making out with, that's me.
Wow. Well, Tori, our next storyteller is Keith Woodruff. Keith shares a story about learning to let go a little.
Please put your hands together for Keith Woodruff.
If I was a baseball player, that'd be my walk-up music. Hold on. There we go. I want to dedicate this to my sons, to my wife, Michelle, and to my family. Okay, so 6 weeks. That's how long our first son, Rainer, lived. We named him Rainer after the German poet Rilke. We were in birthing classes longer than he lived. And did everything right. Diet, exercise, learning to breathe through the contractions. But it didn't matter. He didn't come home. 6 weeks is not a lot of time to learn to become a father. In fact, in that time, I think all I really learned was I wish I had a better mind for science, genetics, cellular biology, these complicated topics that came up during his short life. And I also learned just how completely the heart can break. 2 years later, we had our second son, Whitman, again, named after a poet, English major dorks. What are you going to do? And pretty much right from the start, I was kind of paralyzed by this crippling fear that something was going to happen to him. He'd get hurt or worse. I had nightmares, I had daymares, imagining the worst things possible, wondering what would happen to my sanity if anything happened to him. And I mean crippling to the point where I couldn't take him out of the house for the first year. My wife did that. I was the play-at-home dad. We played upstairs, downstairs, outside, but I couldn't take him out. She did that. And I remember, he was still... He was walking pretty well, but I would walk along with my hand above his head like this to keep him from hitting any hard edges. And just so you know, there were 32 hard edges in the house. And occasionally I'd have to make some repairs for safety, of course, and I would go to Menards. Now, if you don't know Menards, it's like the Home Depot of the North. This was in Madison, Wisconsin. So I was there on one of these trips, and I discovered the lighting department. These 3 glorious aisles of these brushed metal ceiling fans turning, and very ornate decorative lights over here, and then these very elegant chandelier-style lights with crystal beads hanging down. And I was standing there, and I had this epiphany. I thought, this is it. This is the place. This is where I'm going to bring him for our first outing together. Because it seemed manageable, it seemed contained, and I thought, if something went wrong, I maybe will know what to do. So timing couldn't have been better. My wife had been letting me know with increasingly urgent language she was ready for me to be ready. So put him in the car seat, which in and of itself always seemed like a disaster waiting to happen. Are the straps right? Is the seat right? Anyway, off we go. Whitman, me, and my heightened sense of mortality to the lighting department at Menards. So we get there, and 45 minutes or so, I push him up and down, the same 3 aisles over and over again. And he's loving it. He's looking up, he's smiling, making these little, happy sounds, wanting to touch everything. And I'm giving everybody the nod, hey, what's up? Because I'm feeling pretty good. Like, I'm fathering, baby. I'm doing it. So we do this a lot, and I mean a lot. I think we were their best non-paying customer. And so my confidence starts to grow. And I think, okay, I'm going to take him to a park. I know. But not one of those parks with like the gerbil tunnels or the gymnasiums or the swings. We're talking a basic park. Think baby steps. Feel the grass, some trees, and a bulletin board with news and information on it. Okay, so we're at the park. We're having a great time. I'm on this blanket, and he's running around, jumps on me, laughing his ass off, gets up, runs around again, dives on top of me. He's doing that hop on pop thing from Dr. Seuss. So we're having a great time, and it's late summer, right? So all the dandelions have gone to seed, and the grass is covered with these dandelions. And as he's running, it's kind of beautiful. They're swirling up behind him, following after him. And he laughs and drops onto the ground, and for some reason picks up a handful of these and mashes them into his eye. Right. And then the shit hit the fan, the Menards fan. He starts clawing at his face, and he's screaming and he's crying, writhing in the grass like he's on fire. I don't know what the hell has happened yet, but I pick him up, start racing across the park like a running back. I've got him in my arms, and I look down and I see these black things in his eye. And then it hits me. I'm like, oh, Now I know what's happened. A word about dandelions. Soft end that we all blow on and make wishes when we're kids, that's fine. The other end, it's a hard, dark barb. And these are what I see kind of stuck to his eye. So I get to the car and I hip slam the door open. I lay him in the seat and I start digging like a madman through the backpack for the water. I'm just going to flush his eyes out, or his eye, right? So I'm digging for the water, digging for the goddamn water I forgot. So now I'm in a complete panic. He's still in pain. He's crying, and I feel helpless to save him. And then it hits me. I lean my head down, put my mouth over his eye, and I suck. And I spit. Suck, spit. So I start sucking and spitting the seeds out of his eye. Kind of like in the old Westerns, only when it's rattlesnake poison, right? So he's calming down. I'm calming down. Like, okay, everything's going to be all right. Having survived that, I never worried again a day in my life. Just kidding. So I still worry with a white-hot intensity, maybe a little less intense because I started to give up the idea that day that you can protect anyone that completely. Having learned that when the next thing goes wrong, I might, probably, maybe will know what to do. Thank you.
Wow, I just got back from Minnesota and I went to Menards for the first time like 2
He
weeks ago.
loves lights.
That is the perfect place for a child to get injured because right in the next department, they've got first aid. In the next department, they got food. And it's
Yeah.
like, you got everything there.
Yeah. We just take Gavin for the lights, though.
I like Menards.
Wasn't that so cute? Suck and spit, little baby bird. Okay, sorry. I thought that was cute. One more time. Let him hear it.
I think it's time for another story, right, Tori?
Are you ready or what?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Are you guys ready? I don't know. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Cool. Our next storyteller is Casandra Jones. Casandra shares a story about a night of play that left her a little tied up. Ooh.
Okay, settle down. Please join me in welcoming Casandra Jones.
I am a kinky lass. I have been my entire life. And for the last 13 or so years, I've called the Texas kink community my home. Most of the time when people think of kink or BDSM, they think of the hyperbolic, dramatic version of 50 Shades of Grey, which is honestly just an abusive representation of what my world is like. There's no helicopters, there's no mansions. Most of the time, it's a bunch of really nerdy people getting together to take their leisure activities very seriously. Most of the time, I'm a dominant or a top, which means I like to elicit sensations in other people, do the binding, taking control of the situations, and helping make these sensations and experiences great for other people. And in my relations, I tend to think of myself as the person who likes to protect and love the sweet, soft, submissive types of this world. A few years ago, I decided, though, that I needed to try the other side of the spectrum. I needed to try being a bottom. Maybe I should even try one of the most popular kinks out there of rope tying. This was never an interest of mine before now, but because it was so popular and I wanted to try the other side, I was like, okay, I'll go for it. So I asked one of my really longtime friends, who's kind of the dad of our social group, if he would consider giving me a demo tie-up session at one of our upcoming parties for our friend group. He said yes. We, in the weeks preceding, talked about things, limits, negotiated, our desires for the experience. He let me know that, he's very good at tying, but he doesn't always know what to do with the resulting tied up person. He's a good Boy Scout. So we get to the night. We're setting things up. We're in a middle bedroom of a small to medium-sized house. Again, no mansions, no helicopters. And we get about going. I start on my knees on a padded floor with a wooden arch above my head. My friend takes out the jute rope, which is kind of scratchy, but not the scratchiest of ropes out there, and proceeds to tie me with my hands behind my back, me on my knees, a little tight, but not too tight. And there's a suspending line that goes above my head to the wooden arch above me. Just enough that I'm in this chest harness struggling, but I can lean against the rope that leads above me, just kind of feel the groan, feel the support, feel the containment and the safety in that feeling. I'm all tied up now. And it gets to the point where he doesn't really know what to do with me. And so we're just talking, chit-chatting. What was work like this week? What happened in your latest D&D campaign? Things like that. And we're just hanging out while I wiggle around and feel what it's like. And then I see two of my friends, lady friends in the corner, kind of peering in the doorway like, ooh, what's happening in here? Oh, Miss Cash, she never gets tied up. She never bottoms. Oh, my God. And they're watching, and I'm like, I asked my friend's permission to involve some others in the scene. And he says, yeah, sure. What? I don't know what to do with you. And so I was like, oh, ladies, come over. I need touches. My two lady friends come on over. They start, playing with me, my sensations. I start charming, even though I'm still in the binds and on my knees. I start luring them in my flirty, charming, dominant woman way. And, we're playing around, pushing and pulling. Somehow at one point, I was able to, while still tied up, throw one of my friends on the ground and sit on her. At this point, a lot of people were watching. And they were like, oh my God, you dominated the room from being bound on your knees. That's a hell of a dom moment. And as I thought about it, in the moment and the weeks afterwards, I realized I had never really felt so safe and contained in my body. I am a very hypermobile person. My limbs are a little loosey-goosey. My ankles give out all the time. My body is just not something I can trust often. And so there have been a lot of kinky things that I've not tried out until I have practiced over and over and over again in its muscle memory. But being bound and supported, my joints weren't going anywhere. I could feel that safety in my own body and control over my own dominance in a way that had never really happened for me before. At that point, I realized that there was a certain power in being a bottom. There was a certain power in receiving sensations, and there was a certain power within my own sexuality and sensuality in being able to trust my body in that way. So in the years since then, I've incorporated a little more bottom-like behavior, expressing my bottom side, my submissive side, but also, controlling my bodies in those ways. Maybe embracing a corset a little more often. Maybe embracing a chest harness a little more often, even though it doesn't show the normal side of dominance. And it also brought me closer to my friends, my chosen family. Being able to experience such fun, such pleasure, such trust and safety with a spicy activity, knowing that they savored me, they trusted me, they wanted me, and they valued me, both Cass and Sexy Cass, has been a great joy for most of my life and has even led me to my current career in counseling and sex therapy. This is my hyper focus, honestly. This is something of a passion of mine that has led me through my career development, and I'm really grateful for the pleasure gifts have given me. Thank you.
It sounds like most of us would need ibuprofen after something like that.
He's just speaking about himself. Yeah.
What can I say?
No, you know how to tie, or
No, I mean, I
okay,
was
you don't have
in
to
Boy
yell at me.
Scouts.
Jesus, that was very exciting. You guys got excited. I saw you. They sound really close. Give it up for her friends. I have a lot of questions, but yeah. Our next storyteller is Lacy Lansford. Lacy shares a story about a day her son decided to get some Skittles.
Let's all welcome Lacy Lansford.
It's October 2020. We're at the height of online teaching. I have two sons. They are a freshman and sophomore in high school, and I'm starting my 21st year of teaching middle school, but my first year of teaching band through a computer. I'd kept my boys tight. They'd gone to school with me at my middle school, even though we live in a different school district, and now they're at home doing the online learning thing. I'm trying to get all my lesson plans together. I'm trying to get all my videos together. I'm trying to get just a grip on the online learning. And I get a text from my wife in the afternoon that says, "Hey, babe, you busy?" And I was like, "Busy? That doesn't even start." And I kept with what I was working on. And then I realized about an hour had passed, and I was like, "Hey, I should probably give her a call." And so I ring her up, and she goes, "He's okay, but..." When somebody starts a conversation with, "He's okay, but," some bad stuff has happened, right? She says, "He's okay, but Jesse's been run over by a car." I said, "But he's okay?" She goes, "Yeah, he's okay." And so I just packed everything up and I headed home. Now let's rewind. It's the afternoon. Jesse's our 14-year-old. He's the high school freshman, and he gets this craving for Skittles. He gets a real bad craving. And he doesn't have any Skittles at home, but he's got money. And the Circle K is less than a mile from our house. Bing, light bulb moment, he's got an idea. And there was nobody at home to tell him he couldn't do it. So he decided he was going to head on out and get him some Skittles. But then he remembers, I've got a hairline fracture in this femur. I'm not supposed to walk without my crutches. But guys, how many of y'all listen to the doctors when you've got problems? Okay. He was already a little man at 14, and he didn't want to use those crutches. So he decided he would just take his bicycle, and then that way he wasn't walking on the leg. Bing! Brilliant ideas. Just light bulbs everywhere, So he sets out on his journey, and on the way, there's a few driveways off De Zavala Road. We live on De Zavala. There are a few driveways that he has to cross, and as he's going through the AutoZone driveway, he sees this lady, and they get their wires crossed, and she thinks he's telling her, "You go on ahead." And he thinks he's telling her, "I'm finna come through here." And next thing he knows, he's under her Jeep. And he can't get up, and he can't move, and he slaps the side of it. She realized that something is up. She puts it in reverse, runs over him again to get off of him. Well, this was during the school day. He was supposed to be in class at the time. So now he's full of adrenaline because his foolproof plan has a couple of problems. He hops up really fast. He's full of adrenaline. He gives her the thumbs up, and he tries to stand on his leg. He's, "Okay, all right, I'm feeling some, that's going to take a whole lot of hydrogen peroxide. Okay, all right." And he looks at his bicycle, and it's completely mangled. And so he looks at this lady, and he goes, "Hey, could you give me a ride home? My bicycle's real messed up. I don't think I can get the whole way there." Well, shouldn't we call the police? Oh, no. They'd probably call my mom. I need to get home and start damage control. So he talks this lady into putting his bicycle in the back of her Jeep, and they head on to the house. They get home, and his older brother comes shooting out the front door. He's like, bro, you are so dead. He's like, yeah, get my bike out of we got to figure out. Brr. And the lady says again, well, shouldn't we call the police? He's like, no, I'm his brother. I can vouch for him. He lives here. You can go on. We're good. Well, about that time, the next door neighbor comes over to see what all's going on, and he gets the lady's information, thank goodness, and he starts trying to clean up this leg. The boy has road rash from here, and he's got this nasty wound on the side of his knee, and he's got tire marks right here. Did you know you can't just wash tire marks off with soap and water? We learned that day. And funnily enough, we were actually foster parents, and we adopted these boys. So we had to take classes. We had to pass inspections. We were trained. We were fully licensed to raise these kids. Nowhere in the training did they mention that tire mark business, you know? So the neighbor finally convinces the boy to call one of his mothers, and I may have some anger management issues. So they call the other one. When I was in counseling, I was working on it. So then she's the one that calls me. And by the time I get home, everybody's real worried about what's Mama Lacy going to do. I mean, it was during the school day. She's going to lose her mess. It's going to be epic, you know. And as soon as I saw his leg, it got to me right there. My baby was hurt. It could have been really bad, but here he is. And I just started crying, like the ugly cry, you know, automatic snot, the whole thing. And his older brother comes up and he gives me this really tight hug and he goes, way to go with that appropriate emotional response, Mom. You keep doing the work. Keep going to counseling. Thanks for noticing. And we decide this boy needs to go to the hospital. He needs to go to the emergency room. It needs to happen. And he didn't really want to go because it was the height of COVID and everything. And he stands up and he's kind of hobbling around. He's like, I'm fine. I said, are you fine or are you just man fine right now? And he comes back with, you're being such a lesbian mother. All day, every day. Anyway, so we finally get him to the hospital. They check him out. They irrigate the wound. They hold him overnight. They do all the tests and things. He has to get a skin graft. And because of the skin graft, they have to put him in this really tight neoprene like brace deal. It goes from his hip all the way down to his ankle. And he comes hobbling in the next day. You know, I've been on pins and needles all night, worried about the kid. And he comes in, I'm like, oh, baby, how are you? Are you okay? Do you need something? Do you want something to drink or something to eat? Well, I never got my Skittles. Thank you so much. You guys have been great.
Oh my God. My brother ran me over one time.
You know, I work with Tori, and that explains a lot.
He did. It was a bicycle, though. I could have got out of the way. I was a weird kid.
Our final storyteller of the night is Angelica Covarrubias. Ooh. Angelica shares a story about a dog that changed her family completely.
Please welcome our last storyteller of the night, Angelica Covarrubias. Did I do it right?
Close, but no cigar.
Growing up, I had a dog, and I really wanted the dog, but I didn't want to take care of the dog. That was my mom's job. And because it was her job, we were never allowed to have another one when she passed away. So I never considered myself an animal person. Growing up, I didn't have any more dogs. I had a cat that I was allergic to, but that was the end of that story. After so many years, I never decided to get another pet, but I had a husband with 3 girls, and all of a sudden, my husband's coworker was living behind us, and they had baby pugs. Their pugs had babies, and my husband was like, why don't we just try it? And I'm like, no, because then I'm going to be my mom, and I'm going to be the one to feed it and clean it, and everybody wants to cuddle with it, but I have to do the hard work. Doesn't seem very fair. He's like, why don't we just try like 24 hours just to see, let's just see. Well, of course, right? Because she's so little at this time, all she does is sleep. And she's cute and she's cuddly and she looks like Frank from Men in Black, the cutest. So we decide to keep her. And guess what? I became my mom. I took care of her. I fed her. I cleaned her, all the things. And at night, she would cry because she was so attached to my husband and she had to sleep like in his arm, right by his armpit. And she'd cry if she didn't. And I'm like, girl, that's my man. What's happening right now? But nonetheless, to get a good night's rest and avoid hearing her cry all night, she slept in the bed with us. A few weeks go by and we come home from dinner and we can't find her anywhere. And it's impossible for her to have escaped the house. The doors are closed, the windows are closed. She was nowhere to be found. We tore up that tiny little house like crazy, only to find her nestled in under the couch. And that was the moment I realized how much I loved this little dog. She became a part of our family. Everybody was super close to her. She was cute and cuddly. Well, months and weeks go by. And of course, at this time, I'm working in the office during the day. My husband is working nights. And so you know what it's like getting ready for work, right? The hustle and bustle of making sure you have everything you need, the doors, everything's closed and shut. And that's exactly what happened. My husband let her out so that she could use the restroom and went back inside. And when he came back out, she was gone. And there had been an accident at the corner of the street, and we lived off of a pretty busy street. And nobody had seen her. So he calls me and tells me he can't find her. And I'm panicking. I get home. His boss had already picked him up. And he's like, I'm going back home. I'm going to help you find her. And I'm in tears. The girls are questioning me, right? Like 50 questions. Where is she? Where did she go? Where could she be? And I have no idea what to say because I don't know. And that night, my husband walked up and down the neighborhood. We asked everybody we could. Some people thought they saw her. Some people said they did. They'd seen her walking somewhere. It was a whole thing. And I cried myself to sleep that night for a dog that I didn't even want, but I knew I wanted back. At that time, I didn't have social media. And I didn't realize how big the pet community, much less the pug community, was. It's a big community if you didn't know. I had a lot of people reaching out to me for sightings. They thought they had seen her here and there. And unfortunately, every lead was a dead end. Months go by and I get a phone call from somebody who swears they think they have my dog and they'd paid $500 for her. And I said, well, if you take her to a pet store or even the clinic, a vet clinic, scan her microchip and we'll find out if she's mine. Turns out it wasn't my dog because I never heard from them after that. Months go by, more months go by, and my husband and I had an opportunity to move into a brand new neighborhood and a brand new home, and it was really bittersweet because I knew once we left, she'd never come back. But it was beautiful, right, to be in a home that was brand new and a neighborhood that was brand new. So we move. And by this time, I'm actually working remotely, and he's, going into work. I don't know about you guys, but I screen my phone calls. If you call me and I don't have your number saved, I'm not picking up the phone. And I noticed that an Austin number called me. So I pick up the phone and I see that there's a voicemail, and it is the Pug Rescue of Austin letting me know that they had found my dog and they wanted to know if I still wanted her. By this time, it had probably been a year, almost a year and a half. So I'm excited. I can't believe what I'm hearing. I call my husband. I tell my daughters. So my coworker just so happened to live right down the street from where this pug rescue was. And he's like, I'll pick her up. Meet me at Buc-ee's. We'll meet and we'll take her from there. And I'm like, yes, we're going to meet at Buc-ee's. I'm going to get my dog. And we did. And it was like she had never left. It was the most beautiful thing ever. And I'm happy to report that this December, she turned 3 years old and we got to celebrate with her. Everybody in the neighborhood knows who she is. They know where she lives, even so much so that for Halloween, it was like I took her trick-or-treating because everybody greeted her before they greeted me and my kids. Yeah. It was really beautiful. She's been in our home for a while now. And I say all this to say that, you know, what the biggest thing that I take away from this experience is that maybe you might lose someone or a pet doesn't mean that they can't find their way back to you. Thank you.